Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Here's your 1010XL local sports update. Florida rolled LSU behind Ruben Giniello's fourth consecutive double-double, the Gators' first such streak in 20 years. Jaguars shake up the staff, secondary coaches out, and the assistant O-line coach is heading to Stanford. More changes could come as Jacksonville coordinators interview for head coaching jobs. That's your 1010XL local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
Right now, 55 degrees at 10 o'clock, time in 10, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Handoff, here comes Fred, looking up the middle, now cutting back, there he goes, Fred's at the 40, Fred breaks a tackle, he's on the run at the 50, Fred's on the go, he's at the 30, Fred 20, Fred 10, he's into the end zone, touchdown Jacksonville! Wow! So Mackey's got a hold, there he is, 30, Taylor outside 40, there he goes to the 45-50, it's a foot race 40, Taylor 30, Taylor to the 20, he's to the 10, he's pulled out, but he gets into the end zone, touchdown on the first play of the game, 77 yards, Fred Taylor erupts. High kickoff, Desmond Howard's got him at the 10, has blockers, 15. Now there's a reverse play. He throws it across the field to Cedric Tillman, Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith down the sideline. Here he goes, 40. He's got room. He could go. 50, 40, 30. It's a foot race. They aren't going to catch him. 10-5, touchdown Jaguars. 85 yards on the double-dipped alley-oop reverse play from Desmond Howard to Jimmy Smith. Unreal. They trail by 6. Brunel takes the snap. Quick throw. Howard catch. 15, 10, 5. He'll score. He'll score. Touchdown Jacksonville. Touchdown Jacksonville. Touchdown Desmond Howard.
Now, Jaguars Today on 1010XL with Mike Dempsey, Fat Tony, and RJ Saunders.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy Wednesday morning to you. Jaguars Today midweek as we recover from the abrupt end of the Jaguars season and go about the business of building this thing back up for 2026. Tony, good morning.
Good morning.
Have you been contacted about potentially coaching any NFL teams?
No, I have
at this
not.
point? It's a pretty busy market, robust right now.
Yeah.
We just found out Grant Udinski is getting an opportunity to interview with the Buffalo Bills for their head coaching gig. That's not low level. That's not one you turn down, Tone, whatsoever. I don't know. I'm of the opinion that he would take the Cleveland Browns job if offered, presuming he completes his second interview with him. Mike McDaniel withdrew his name. You don't know why guys withdraw their names from coaching searches. Sometimes it's because they know they're not going to get the job, and they don't want to be seen as being rejected. And they say, oh, no, I've got a great opportunity here. This suits me better. And other times, maybe they don't feel like it's a very advantageous position. I think it's different for Udinski compared to McDaniel. McDaniel being a second-time-around guy, how often do you get a third crack at it?
Right.
In the National Football League, right? I mean, you see coaches that don't get it done. In fact, this cycle is all about former head coaches so far getting jobs. Jeff Hafley was a college head coach, but these are all guys that have had head coaching experience, usually in the National Football League, and teams feel like, okay, you know what, there's some things you don't know what you don't know. The first time you have the job, you kind of get over that, and you're better prepared the next opportunity.
Second time around, if it doesn't work out that time, I think the league probably is like, all right, it's just not going to work.
Right. Like I think Grant Udinski is thought well enough of as an offensive mind that if he goes in and has some success offensively, even if Cleveland doesn't win big and 3 years down the road, he gets fired, he's going to get another opportunity as a head coach. And he's young, too, right? I mean, he's
Still
30 years old.
Yeah.
My goodness, man. If you got your first head gig at 10 years from now, you're still way ahead of the curve on average. So Udinski is a sought-after commodity. Anthony Campanile is still apparently being considered, I guess, by the Baltimore Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't heard much further on that.
No.
And obviously didn't get the Miami job. So, that's the nature of success. It has people knocking on your door and trying to figure out if what you did can be replicated where they are.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Like we've asked the question this week about, the priorities for the team. right? Like going into the offseason and how you would rank them. And I know a couple of the responses we got is find a way to hold on to the coordinators. And in my head, I'm like, I mean, I hope these guys are all back. But if they find jobs as head coaches somewhere else in the league, I'll go, okay, good. Right? That Liam Cohen is good enough at identifying coaches that guys are having enough success here in Jacksonville that everyone else is looking at it saying, we need a little piece of that. Right? Like, I would take that as a compliment, and I would trust Liam Cohen and the people in the building right now to find the next guy that's not going to completely stall what progress we've seen happen here in Jacksonville. Now, is that a challenge? Absolutely. But I'm not at all afraid of those guys being challenged in that way and having to overcome that kind of thing. If both of them left, I think they'd find guys that come in and it completely shut everything down.
No, it doesn't.
It's a challenge for him, and I can understand if you're looking at it saying, I'd rather him not have to face the challenge. I'd agree with you from that perspective, but I don't mind if both of them get hired somewhere else if it means that's how good a job they're doing here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I get that. Like, I'd love for them to do that good a job because they're obviously doing one of a high caliber to get considered and keep them because, again, so many things going, we don't see it behind the scenes every day, right? Chemistry builds on a lot of different layers, and part of it is the interaction with this coaching staff. How much of a kind of a comfort zone did Grant Udinski provide for Trevor Lawrence? Just how good can Anthony Campanelli's first-year success be replicated by the next guy you give that opportunity to? It's look, Ryan Nielsen was that guy just a year prior, right? And we were all excited about it at the time because he had some success.
And Tampa just found out no with Cohen.
Correct.
Like, it's not easy.
It's not easy necessarily to find that same exact replacement level. Now, sometimes you get better, but I find it hard to believe they'd get better at both positions this offseason if they lost those two guys. But we'll see how it goes.
Right. Like, I don't think it's going to happen with Coach Camp the way that I'm looking at.
I don't either.
Udinski, it feels a real
It really does.
Yeah.
I think, in fact, if Cleveland was smart, that might be the move they make because Jesse Minter, I think, is the one guy that they would probably hire over him. And I think from what you hear, written about coaching circles, he is the guy that has the most interest widespread among all their candidates. Like, he could maybe have he might be the Ravens' top choice.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, well, he's not going to choose the Cleveland Browns over the Baltimore Ravens. The Browns might see the writing on the wall and go, hey, you know what? Buffalo really likes this guy. There must be something to him. We can't be that wrong.
Yeah. Get
that second interview. And if it clicks and it makes sense, get ahead of the curve. Because if Grant Udinski doesn't get a job this year, if the Jags go 11 or 12 wins next year and Trevor Lawrence has a comparable season, then he's going to be in demand once again, and you might not be the one in position. Right now, it's just you, and here come the Bills. And that would trump you, obviously. I don't know if Udinski got offered the job flat out, got to take the job, but you got to accept it today. I don't know what he would do. Would he say, no, I want to, if that's the tactic, I would probably advise him to say no because they know how valuable you are. They're afraid of you going away. If you told them yes 5 days from now, what makes you any less attractive a candidate other than you wanted to hear what the Buffalo Bills had to say? So anyway, it's fun to watch that carousel go around. And for me, I'm glad the Jags got in on it last year.
Thank goodness.
Right? I mean, and got the guy that they got. That's a huge part of it as well. Liam Cohen, I guess, would have, if the Jags didn't hire him, he would have been available this year, but the Jags would have hired someone else. Maybe it would be Robert Saleh. And that's who we'd have, and who knows what kind of season we would have had. Would Trevor Lawrence have made the progress that he made and things along those lines without that offensive?
No way to know.
Look, there is no way to know. Today, kind of prompted by a question we had yesterday, we decided to look at CBS Sports' top 50 NFL free agent ranking list for 2026. Now, this is a subjective list, but it's a good document to give you an idea of who some of the top available players are going to be. So we'll give you our 3 favorites as we go along today, but our question of the day today is this. If you take the Jags' own guys out, I don't want you to say, well, the free agents I'd most like to sign are Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne and Monteric Brown, okay, which that may be the case, but you can factor in whether you think those guys are going to be retained or not in your answers, but we tweeted out a link to that list over at CBS, and we're asking you, other than trying to retain your own players, which 3 free agents on that list would you most like to see the Jacksonville Jaguars pursue this offseason? You could take economic factors into consideration, team needs, what you think's available in the draft. You can do it however you like. I've got my list, and as RJ's going to find out, my list of 3, 4 minimum. All right. I just can't do it sometimes, RJ. I got 4 today. So I thought that was pretty disciplined by myself. Good morning, RJ Saunders,
3.
by the way. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
What's going on?
Nothing much.
Who are you repping in there today, man? I can't.
The Mighty Ducks.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
They're mighty.
They are mighty. I never make that one out initially. I don't watch. I was going to say I don't watch enough hockey. I don't watch any hockey. Let's be honest, right? I really don't. Even the playoffs, I don't watch hockey.
Yeah, I think I've only watched one playoff series in my life.
You just like the kit.
I just like the kit.
Sweater.
Yeah, no, I mean, I watched the Kings run. I think that was 2012. I think when they won the Stanley Cup game, like it went to like a 7th game. I forget who they even played. I just know the LA Kings won.
I grew up on Long Island Sound as a kid, so when the Islanders got good, I claimed them. I didn't really follow, I never went to see any of their games or anything like that. They were never on TV except for maybe like the Stanley Cup Finals. At least it felt like back then. But at least I box score watched and I read their roster and I could recite their roster to you, but I really knew nothing about hockey. But they did win 4 titles in a row, and I was quick to claim them.
Listen, I only know maybe like a couple players, and that's because I played like NHL 03 or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I know them.
The guys you know have been out of the league for 10 years.
Exactly.
For something like that. Just go with Ovechkin and you'll be fine. All right. Today, you can get in at 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at that same number. You can stream us on YouTube, on X, on Facebook, or hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at R has no J. Coming up, our man John Shipley, for the first time in 2026, will grace us with his radio presence. We'll talk free agency with the Jaguars and some off-season do's and don'ts, what's on his wish list for the Jags, that and more coming your way. John Oehser in hour number 2. We got a lot to get to today. Let's talk a little free agency and shaking up this roster a little bit. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and RJ Saunders on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL, Rick Ballou, the truth teller.
You're popular with the public, but I don't have to tell you, I don't have a lot of friends in high places.
Rick Ballou takes you into the night.
Means I gotta do a little acting. I'm cool with that.
No acting. Weeknights on 1010XL.
Joe C. here. I tried playing handyman with my sprinklers and French drain. Ho, ho, ho. And royally failed. So I called Clearwater Irrigation and Drainage, and John Haney came out personally, just like he'll do for you.
You know it. And for a limited time, my good buddy Joe C's coming too.
Huh?
Ain't that right, Joe?
I gotta go to the game.
Joe? Go!
Clearwater Irrigation.
At least do this part. And drainage too.
ClearwaterJax.com. It's a Weight Loss Wednesday
On Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
Discuss the beautiful game. The Coaches Show presented by Sporting Jacks. Cole Pepper, Sporting Jacks head of soccer Mark Warburton, and Sporting Jacks women's coach Stacey Baylor. Get an hour of soccer talk Tuesday evenings at 6 on 1010 a.m.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
I know you love sports, so why not take that passion and make a difference in your community as a volunteer coach with the YMCA? Whether it's soccer, basketball, volleyball, or flag football, The Y is always looking for positive role models to help kids grow in both skills and character. Even if you've got no coaching experience, that's fine. We'll provide the training. Step up, give back, and be the coach that makes a difference. To volunteer, visit your local Y or fcymca.org.
It's Taylor. Valentine's Day is just a few weeks away, but don't do what you probably do every year. Last-minute grocery store flowers, questionable strawberries, and a box of forgettable chocolate. This year, step up your game. Pre-order fresh, hand-dipped strawberries and beautifully crafted artisan chocolates from Peterbrook Chocolatier. With 15 North Florida locations, you probably drove past one today. Up your game this Valentine's Day with a gift that actually impresses. And trust me, you'll score more points with your Valentine. Find your closest location at peterbrook.com. Peterbrook.com.
Valentine's Day is coming soon, so go ahead and pre-order your floral arrangements now from Kuhn Flowers. Hi, Flying Jacko here, and for over 75 years, Kuhn Flowers has made Valentine's Day for that special person in your life. KuhnFlowers.com.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
Hey folks, it's Frank Frangie. All those festive holiday feasts probably have added a few extra pounds, but here's the thing. You can make this the year you finally lose the weight safely and for good. Now, you know by now my daughter Amber kicked off the journey with Awaken 180 weight loss back in the summer. You ready for this? She's lost 100 pounds in 6 months. Man, is she proud of that. 100 pounds. And she really did it with this really, really good plan. There's no shots, no medications, no supplements, just real food and a proven plan. That's right. With Awaken 180, you can still enjoy your favorite food and drink. No more yo-yo diets or feeling deprived. The structured program empowers you to control your eating without hunger. It really is doable. Don't just resolve to make the change. Make the change. Call Awaken 180 today and take that first small step. Book your consultation now, 1-844-346-1800, or visit awaken180weightloss.com. It worked for Amber. It really did. And it can work for you. Awaken 180 weight loss.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative, here to share with you an actual client review.
Dude, these shirts are sick.
Check out the shirts and other sick promo items at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all. 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. Everything you need to know about the Jaguars today on 1010XL.
Yeah, I'm going to have to talk to Uncle June about this, Tony. I don't know if our man RJ has been informed. We like to stop by Satrielli's Meats and go visit with John Shipley.
Well, we can do that riding on 85. That's the name of this song.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where 85 is that. Where's 85 go?
In Atlanta.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, I think it's in Atlanta.
They have Satrielli's Meats in Atlanta?
They may.
I'm going to guess no.
We can ask our next guest.
I'm going to guess no. That's an offshoot of the New Jersey branch. John Shipley of Sports Illustrated joins us right here to talk some Jaguar ball. John, Happy New Year to you, buddy. It's been a little while.
Yes, sir. Doing great. How you guys doing?
We're fantastic around these parts, man. We'll forgive RJ that unless you want to mix it up for the new year, man. If you want some different walk-up music, we'll allow it. You know, just you need to let us know on that front.
Man, RJ's the man. Whatever he spins, I know it's going to be right.
All right, that's a good answer. Always getting good with the producer. They do control the buttons around here. Ship, I just saw this. I don't know if you're aware of it, so I may be springing this on you, but you, being the intrepid reporter you are, could be fully aware. I saw from Matt Zenith over at CBS Sports, the Jags are currently expected to hire Dolphins cornerback coach Tayo Araju. If I'm probably butchering his name, but apologies. It was a solid effort. He has worked in Miami the last 4 years, recently interviewed for the Jets defensive coordinator job. Have you heard anything? That seems to be the only opening at the moment, right? Have you heard anything on that front on who is the likely replacement for Ron Miles?
Yeah, no, I mean, it seems like you said, to this point, there haven't been a lot of vacancies on staff. I think it's just been Milas and the assistant offensive line coach. And they had 2 assistant offensive line coaches to begin with, so you wonder if that's even a role they're going to fill. I mean, I think if this is the direction they're going to go in, which certainly looks the case, it makes a lot of sense. He works with Camp at Boston College. He worked with him in Miami. He was supposedly close with Vic Fangio during Fangio's one season in Miami, so they come from kind of a similar background. And then it just always felt, and like this isn't anything I was told, it was just my basic reading of the situation, that Milas was always just kind of, an odd fit with one of the youngest staffs in the NFL.
Right.
He's been around a long time. I mean, you can just look around the Jaguars coaching staff in practice. It's not, it's basically Milas and Edgar Bennett on the offensive side as the 2 guys who really had the vast experience. So I think bringing in a younger guy who's been with camp makes a lot of sense. And then I think, if you're seeing his hiring being announced, and I'm assuming that makes you feel pretty good about the chances of Camp now staying, especially after Miami hired Jeff Hafley and Baltimore looks like they're now getting into the second leg of their coaching search.
Yeah, and that would be the logical follow-up there. In fact, Rob, who I appreciate bringing this to my attention on X, suggested the same thing. Maybe it's a good sign that Campanile is staying, that it would be Campanile signing off on this hire. What about Udinski, man? Some sweaty palms around these parts right now, getting a second interview with Cleveland, and now the Buffalo Bills have shown interest, which I think, to me, raises the likelihood of Cleveland going, if the Bills are interested, maybe we aren't that dumb, and maybe that they end up offering Udinski the job. Are you hearing anything on the Udinski front?
Yeah, so it definitely seems like Udinski, at least from everything that's coming out, on the Cleveland side, is very much in consideration over there. And this is just my gut guess. I think if Cleveland's going to hire a coach, it's going to be 1 to 3 guys. I think if they're going to retain Jim Schwartz because the locker room wants him and because there's no other way to keep him. I wouldn't imagine he wants to be a defensive coordinator for somebody who, he got passed over for as head coach when he can basically have his pick of several open defense coordinator jobs. And then I think it could be either Grant Udinski or Nate Shieldhouse. I think that the Browns, if they're not retaining Schwartz, will want to go with a young offensive mind. Both those guys kind of fit the bill, but because of the way the Browns search has kind of been set up, there won't be clarity on this one for probably another week, guys. I mean, Udinski, I know, has his second interview with them on Friday. They can't speak to Shieldhouse until probably Monday because they can't talk to him until after the Rams play the Seahawks.
Right.
And they, he's one of the guys that, it's not an interview they just can't have. I mean, to become compliant with the Rooney Rule and to be able to make a hire, they need to speak to, 2 candidates in person. That so far, and with Mike McDaniel dropping out, it looks like they might have to make some other kind of move. So it just seems like that one's going to take a little while longer to sort out. But it really wouldn't shock me if Udinski got the job. I think that would be jarring if a 30-year-old who's never called plays before gets it. Yeah, to a degree. But I mean, if you're the Browns, what's the downside if Udinski fails? Then you're just back where the Browns have been, over the last few years. And the upside is maybe you do find the next Liam Cohen, the next Sean McVay, and whatnot.
John, our question of the day is about the free agents across the league and who we think the Jags could target or we would like to see them target. But before we get to some of that, they do have the in-house free agents that we've been talking about for a while now, and ETN, Devin Lloyd, Buster Brown. How would you prioritize trying to get those 3 guys back in the building?
I'll be honest. I'm not sure if any of them will be to an extent. I think that Devin Lloyd obviously had a fantastic season. He's somebody who, former first-round pick who it seems like met his potential. Anthony Campanile definitely got, a lot out of him just with his scheme, et cetera. But I just wonder if the Jaguars value that position enough to go where Lloyd's market might be taking him. I think there's a real chance he becomes one of the highest paid linebackers in football. Maybe gets to that $17 to $19 million per year range. And I'm just not sure how comfortable the Jaguars are going to be with, paying that. When you look at, their contract situation, they got a lot of guys due in 2026 who are key pieces. Trayvon Walker, Brendan Strange, Parker Washington. You have to make a decision on Anton Harrison and his, 5th-year option, et cetera. So it wouldn't surprise me if they, Lloyd has kind of priced himself out and the Jaguars, are content with saying, hey, he had a fantastic season. It was a big part of what he did, but it's it's time for him to, realize his market value elsewhere. ETN, I think if you can get ETN on a solid kind of hometown discount, I don't see why you wouldn't want to bring him back. I don't think the backfield necessarily needs a workhorse, but I just think him working in tandem with Tuden worked out really well for the Jaguars last year. It seems like Liam Cohen and his staff unlocked him as a pass catcher. He got better in pass pro. It was the best version of ETN I've seen in the NFL, since he's obviously started with the Jaguars. But there are going to be some teams out there with significant running back needs. So running back contracts don't, really blow up. But if you're the Jaguars, do you pay that contract to ETN if you get to, the 9, 10, 11 million per year range with offers? Or do you roll with Tuden next year, add another rookie running back, and just trust Cohen and his staff to develop when, like I said, you have those guys coming up in 2026? But Buster Brown, he was the toughest guy for me. I did some thinking of predicting which free agents I think will stay, which ones I think will go. I think most will go, and I put, go for Buster Brown, but that was probably the toughest one for me, kind of a coin toss, just because he's so liked, he's so well respected in the building. They're big fans of what he put on tape this year. It's just the reality is you are a bit, with Buster wondering, what is the ceiling? I think you saw, some issues handling speed throughout the season. I think the Buffalo game wasn't his best game. So I think if you're already having Travis Hunter is going to play more defense, and you already know Jarian Jones, okay, he had a great year. He's probably going to have a bigger role. I'm just not sure if they're going to want to bring Buster back when they could just spend a draft pick or two on the position.
Yeah, Jordan Lewis will be back as well. Christian Braswell's still here. They have some bodies there. I don't feel like I feel football-wise, Lloyd would be the biggest loss, but he's also most expensive. And I kind of agreed with you. I thought for the longest time that they would probably go the rookie running back route. Tuten elevates to the top of the depth chart. But then I heard that they've at least discussed internally, Ship, the transition tag for Travis Etienne, which would only be a one-year commitment. Now, it wouldn't be cheap. It's $11.4 million, but you know what you're getting, and it is only that 1 year. You could still draft another one late and develop him and turn the backfield over to Tuten and company beyond that. Do you think that's in play at all this offseason?
Yeah, I think it's something they definitely have to consider. And one thing I think with this front office, I don't think they'll leave any stone kind of unturned. I think they'll look at every possible scenario. And like you said, it's just a 1 year thing. It's, the $11 million, you wouldn't call it cheap or anything like that. But if you can get yourself in good cap standing, the cap's obviously going to go up by quite a bit. And I expect them to make some moves as well to kind of move contracts around to set themselves up. I think it's worth considering. It just depends on what the evaluation of Bayshaw Tuten is. If the evaluation of Tuten is that they're anticipating, James Godstone mentioned with rookies at their end of season press conference, giving them the runway to have that bigger role. If they feel confident in him having that bigger role, then I don't think that they'll do anything to add unnecessary competition for him as they see him take on an expanded role and kind of become the player they envision. But if their evaluation tune from his rookie season is, like you said, that potentially maybe he's not ready yet, give him another year, then I definitely think a tag could be in play.
I know you mentioned it briefly a moment ago, but getting more in depth into it here, what do you think the plan should be with Travis Hunter going into his second year?
I mean, I truly, I probably said it on your guys' show because I know I've said it a few times. I thought my personal evaluation of Hunter, which, my evaluation and Dollar can get you a cup of coffee somewhere, but was that I thought coming into the NFL, he was an elite cornerback who should be sprinkled in on offense. Obviously, I think when the Jaguars drafted him, they had a bigger need at wide receiver than they did on defense. They're not the same franchise that they are when they drafted him. Jacoby Myers wasn't here, Parker Washington. Everybody knew he was talented, but he hadn't exactly taken that leap yet. We've obviously seen Tyson Campbell get moved when he was the presumed number one corner. Just a lot has changed since they originally drafted him. I thought that the cornerback first plan for him always made sense because to me, can he potentially impact the game more at receiver? I think so to an extent, just because at corner, you run the risk of how much of an impact can he make if guys, aren't throwing at him. But I still think that's, giving you some kind of value if he's taken away a part of the field. Whereas that receiver, if he scores one touchdown, that, can completely change the course of a game or a couple of big catches like we saw him do last year. But I still think you can get him involved on offense without him being a full-time receiver. I think looking at the structure of the offense, Parker Washington has to be a starter next year. Obviously, Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr. will be in their prominent roles. I think it makes sense with how everything is structured right now for Travis to specialize in corner and minor at receiver. But with that said, we'll see what the roster looks like in July. It could look a lot different, and they could even have it set up to where maybe they can, they have equal needs at receiver and corner. They can kind of split his time similar to what they did to an extent last year.
Well, when you suggest that, I mean, the way it's set up right now, there wouldn't, you would think, be equal time. Or are you saying possibly if they moved a player? I mean, and if that were the case, Brian Thomas would be the obvious one. Like, I'm not on the, trade Brian Thomas train around here. I'm not saying you are either, but do you think that's a possibility?
I mean, I think with the way that this front office thinks that, they'll probably address every possible avenue, whatever that means. I firmly believe that, like when I originally saw the Brian Thomas Jr., trade deadline kind of rumor that went around that week, my initial thought was, I mean, why wouldn't teams call on him? Unless you're one of, a couple franchise quarterbacks and a couple like elite pass rushers, you're tradable. That's just the nature of the NFL. So it wouldn't shock me just because I don't think Brian Thomas Jr. is this player who is just completely has earned the benefit of, being one of the few players in the NFL who isn't tradable. But I also think, I don't think it makes the Jaguars better if they trade Brian Thomas. I really don't. I realize is his skill set probably more, of a better fit with an offense that focuses on those vertical deep shots and is willing to give him the volume of a wide receiver one? Probably. But I think if you trade him and you're the Jaguars, you're getting worse at receiver. You're taking away the really lone over-the-top speed threat that you have, a guy who, even in games that he's not catching a ton of passes and he's drawing the number one cornerback more often than not. I think the Jaguars are better off with Brian Thomas Jr. than they are without him.
All right, Ship, as things stand now, we don't know exactly who they'll be able to retain of their own guys, and maybe they won't retain any, all right, out of the ones we kind of touched on here. How do you see the top 2 or 3 needs for this football team, areas that they have to get some help at this offseason?
Yeah, I think interior defensive line has to be one of the major focuses. Defensive line in general, because they can still use more pass rush depth. Obviously, they got some solid sparks from undrafted rookies, Danny Strigow and B.J. Green, and Dennis Gardeck obviously flashed. But even if you bring Gardeck back, I think you still need to add more to that pass rush group, just a little more firepower, but especially interior defensive tackle. I mean, you have several guys who played key interior roles, DeJuan Smoot, Austin Johnson, whose contracts have expired. I mean, they leaned on journeyman veterans last year, like Johnson, like Matt Dickerson. Mason Smith was a healthy scratch by the end of the season. I just think they need so badly an influx of talent at defensive tackle too. Yeah, to me, if that rumored interest they had in Quinnen Williams at the trade deadline, if they're able to pull the trigger on a trade like that and they get Quinnen Williams, I think they beat the Buffalo Bills in that wild card game. I think they were one more disruptive defensive line piece away from still playing football this season. So I think interior defensive line. I think corner, just because you obviously you have Buster Brown's contract's up, Greg Newsome's contract's up, Jordan Lewis, he'll be back, but he's injured right now. You need more bodies at corner in general. And then I really think that, quietly a need is tight end, behind Brenton Strange. I think that Hunter Long and Johnny Munt kind of just, gave you seasons that, didn't really move the needle one way or another. Munt, I thought, was kind of up and down as a blocker. And I just think that they can get more dynamic behind Brenton Strange and, add more weapons to, maybe let them go and do some things 13 personnel like you're seeing teams like the Rams and Seahawks do right now.
A lot of good options here, John, but as we let you go, looking back on the 2025 season for the team, who was the Jaguars' most improved player in 2025?
Man, that's a great question. I think I have to go with Devin Lloyd. I think Parker Washington's up there, Antonio Johnson's up there, but Devin Lloyd, it wasn't just the turnovers. And I know those were the highlight plays, and obviously they were big ones. That pick six against Patrick Mahomes, one of the biggest plays I've witnessed, in that stadium covering the team. His interception against the Colts and Daniel Jones was obviously big later in the season, his big game against the 49ers. he had a great year in those regards. But he just, as a downhill run defender, as a guy who was just able to play with more physicality and more control, I think, than we saw in his early years, and what he was able to do as a blitzer. I think a lot of people wrongly had him pegged in terms of his pass rush potential, where I've never really seen him as a guy who can come off the edge. But, it seems like camp and the defensive staff really unlocked, how to use him, getting after the passer, on blitz schemes and stunts, etc. So I think Devin Lloyd just took a giant leap. And, yeah, even though there's, I think, a strong chance he doesn't return, I think you can take some solace in knowing that this Jaguars staff on defense especially, is able to get the most out of players like that.
All right, John Shipley does phenomenal work for Jaguar Report. You can find him on X at _John_Shipley, and we'll look forward to catching up with you throughout the offseason, Ship, on hopefully, following a team that gets back to a high level of competitiveness once again. Much better to cover that than the alternative.
Appreciate it, my man.
All right, buddy. There he goes. John Shipley out the door. If you want to get in, you know the ways to do it. 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines is your primary avenue. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and RJ Saunders here with you on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Hey folks, it's Frank Frangie for Lee and Kate's Glass. They say you're going to see a big difference, but what does that really mean? It means a live local person on the phone, a smooth, easy process, skilled craftsmen, and excellent customer service all around, with your satisfaction absolutely guaranteed. Visit LeeandKatesGlass.com.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
This is the kind of sandwich you don't rush. French dip at Firehouse Subs. Premium roast beef loaded with caramelized onions, melted provolone cheese, and topped with Italian seasoning. Stacked on a toasted garlic bread roll with hot au jus for dipping. For a limited time at Firehouse Subs.
Frank Frangie here for Coil Fencing. Since 1927, Jacksonville has trusted Coil Fencing to protect what matters. And I trust them too. From tough chain link to your commercial project to sleek aluminum fencing your HOA will love, Coil does it all. Did you know that Coil can also install, service, and maintain those automatic gates that help protect your neighborhood or business? To schedule a complimentary consultation, visit CoilJacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com. Coil Fencing, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Want a one-stop shop when it comes to commercial or residential construction? Then pick Preferred Builders. They should be high on your list. Over 70 years of construction experience combined with exceptional product and service warranties. They've got a team ready to tackle any size project. In fact, they built their business in Duval by offering superior work at reasonable prices, and reputation over time means something. Honest and knowledgeable, reliable and responsive. Be sure and put Preferred Builders into your game plan for your next construction project. That's Preferred Builders.
In the game of vehicle performance and reliability, Atlantic Infinity is always the top pick. This is Hayes Carlion. Did you know that every certified pre-owned Infinity is inspected, factory-backed, with a limited warranty, and gets the same championship-level service as a brand-new Infinity? Every mile will feel like first class. Check out their full certified inventory now at AtlanticInfinity.com or visit Atlantic Infinity off Atlantic near St. John's Bluff.
Give a unique gift this Valentine's Day to that special person in your life with a custom-made candle or body care product from Wick, a candle bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. People ask, are your solutions for thinning hair permanent? Yes, our solutions have permanent natural results and are guaranteed to work. Put our 35 years of experience helping 10,000 plus men and women to work for your thinning hair. Our trademark hair transplant procedures will give you 3 times more hair in one procedure. PRP and laser treatments are fast, easy, and effective, and only take 30 minutes. Most of our staff have experienced hair loss ourselves. Our caring and confidential team can help you look better and feel better about yourself and restoring your hair again.
For your confidential consultation, call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or go to hairforme.com. That's hairforme.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right. Thanks to John Shipley for popping by. First visit of the 2026 calendar year from the man from Jaguar Report. He did a nice piece over at SI.com's Jaguar Report on 3 big swing trade contender players if the Jags could go after. Max Crosby, top of the list. A lot of people covet him. Man, it would take a lot to get Max Crosby on this team, Tony. And I don't know if that's the right move. Yes, we need more pass rush. I don't know if that's the answer based on what you'd have to give up, which would probably be like a Trayvon Walker and a first-round pick starting point kind of trade. I know Ryan O'Halloran proposed offering a lot more than that to get Crosby in here. I don't know if he's the answer. They did that last year with Travis Hunter, and I'm not saying be afraid to take big swings, but when that one guy gets hurt, all those assets are parked on the bench, and not available to you. Now, granted, most of that was future assets with Travis Hunter, but you didn't have a first or a second-round pick last year impacting you on the field in the second half of the season. Again, that's guys get hurt. That's the nature of the business. You can't be afraid to make moves. I just think Crosby would be cost prohibitive. Daron Payne, defensive tackle for Washington, I think he'd be a little pricey. And Trent McDuffie, the corner from Kansas City. Would I like all these guys? Absolutely. I think there are lower cost alternatives that could still boost this team because they are going to have to fill, I believe, some of these spots. They're going to open up some more holes than they currently have right now. Like if you count Devin Lloyd as being on this team and you don't think he's going to be back, there's a hole you got to fill. Same potentially with Travis Etienne, Buster Brown, Gardeck. And I'm not saying they won't bring any of these guys back. We just don't know at this point what the landscape's going to look like.
Yeah, and we got a lot of off-season time, so there'll be some point where we'll ask a question about trade, targets that you would like for the Jaguars, right? Like we'll get to all of these kind of issues and kind of storylines, but every year when we go to do that kind of thing, and it's, today we're talking about the free agent list and trying to pick out the 3 names as a target, right? And, I wrestle with myself just trying to pick the 3 names. It's like, do I want to be realistic about this? Or do I want to say the 3 names that I think they might actually be able to get in on, right? Because, Trey Hendrickson would lead my list.
Sure.
Right?
I didn't put him on mine.
Right.
They're not going to pay him $30 million.
Right, but it's not realistic.
They don't have the $30 million to pay him.
Right, and there's a few guys that are kind of on that list that I'm like, they would definitely be among the 3 that I would target the most if it was me making the decision, but I don't think it's realistic for one reason or another. With Henderson, it's the money. With a couple of the other guys, I don't think they're leaving where they're at, right? So I don't bother too much with putting them on the list. With that kind of thing, you almost kind of assume they're going to figure it out where they're at. If you had them, you wouldn't let them walk, so I'm assuming they're not going to let them walk. Kind of, you do that kind of mental game. The trade thing is interesting from the perspective of it's pointing to where the needs are, right? It's saying they need to find another pass rusher and they need to find an interior
And wouldn't
guy.
this look good?
Right, they need a corner. Like it's at least hitting where we think they're going to be aiming going into this offseason.
They need a corner. I don't think they're desperate for a corner.
I don't
I really don't. I mean, like, if Travis Hunter is Travis Hunter, that we think he is, he's going to be your number 1 corner. You've got Jarian. Jordan Lewis is really good for you, and he'll come back healthy. And, do you need some depth? Yeah, because you usually have about 6. You try to have 6 quality corners on your roster. You'll have Braswell there. I mean, there are later draft picks that you can take shots on guys with traits and get them into the system. Maybe you sign a lower level veteran type player. I don't see them making a big splash here. That's me. Maybe I'm not privy to their thinking. So let's do this. Let's take a time out here. Stay on time. We'll come back. Let's go around the table here, get Mr. Saunders involved, and we'll throw out, and we may duplicate some of these picks. We don't compare our lists with each other ahead of time to make it interesting. We may have the exact same players on our list. I don't know who Tony's got. I don't know who RJ has, and they don't know who I have. So we'll go through on the CBS list of the top 50 free agents, 3 that we would like the Jags to show some interest in. Chances are they won't sign them all. They might not sign any of them. But these are the guys we're looking at this stage of the offseason. So we'll get to that coming up next. Your call is welcome, as always, at 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Living life on the edge of your seat.
Are you kidding me?
Your front row seat for play-by-play.
Break it free, they're not going to catch you.
1010XL.
Not everyone is built for a cubicle. At Local 234, apprentices get paid to learn hands-on skills like plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, the stuff Jacksonville runs on. No endless lectures, no massive student debt, just hands-on training, real jobs, and real pay. This is how you level up, by doing work that actually matters. Check them out at UA234.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Local 234. Make the right connection.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Cancer Center with on-site imaging, including whole body MRI, PET and CT scans, and mammography. Early detection is key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On January 21st, 1990, John McEnroe becomes the first person ever to be disqualified from the Australian Open during his 4th-round match.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
This is the home of the Florida Gators. Get your Gators hoops on 1010XL. Brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah, Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville, and Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
What Major League Baseball player has the most stolen bases in his career?
Just letting your homeowner's insurance renew each year may cost you money. Shop around and you may find a better plan. Let Southern Oak Insurance give you an option at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Oakland A's outfielder Ricky Henderson stole 1,406 bases during his career, including 130 in 1982.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $4,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's Terminix.com. That's right, Terminix it.
Low mortgage rates are back. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%. It's the lowest in years. Hey, gang, Prosser here. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time. Or you can keep your primary mortgage intact, get cash out, equity with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loans. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards, some car loans, and cut their monthly expense by $2,000. Call now. See what option works best for you, but don't miss this big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous Rapid Equity Loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks. You may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 904-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com. No hard credit pull. 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers.
Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
1010XL, presented by Farrah and Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farrah doesn't flinch. Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, I got my three-man list down to 4, which is very impressive for me. It's more like an honorable mention. I got 2 guys under different circumstances for the same position here. Tony Smith, don't you fret. It is a well-thought-out list of players that I'd like to at least see the Jags connected with, kicking the tires on, ones that would make sense to improve this football team. CBS Sports did a posting about a week ago of the top 50 prospective free agents this offseason. That includes some of your favorite Jacksonville Jaguars, by the way. I think Devin Lloyd was somewhere in the teens, if I'm not mistaken. You had Travis Etienne was on there. I think they were the only 2 in the top 50 for the Jags. Where was Devin Lloyd? He was pretty high up, 15th. I think that was the highest Jaguar on the list.
Yeah, Etienne was like 18 or 19, something like that. Maybe a little lower.
Maybe a little bit lower than that. I'm scrolling through right now. Probably the easiest thing to do is just
that control F.
23, Tony. Yes, the old control F. I'm so computer literate. All right, give me a guy, Tone. And again, we may duplicate some of these. Yeah. But give me a guy. Make your case.
Yeah, I doubt this one is going to be duplicated by either of you. This is the Devin Lloyd's not coming back.
Okay.
Pick on the list here from me, and there are reasons for him not to be on anybody's list, and I can understand him before I even say the name. Nakobe Dean. Linebacker out of Philadelphia. He's got the injury history. I get it, but he provides basically what Devin Lloyd does as a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball from kind of the interior of the linebacker. He's been a good, not great blitzer, but it's not like Devin Lloyd's been a great blitzer, right? So he kind of replaces that part of it. He's been a playmaker when he's been able to be on the field for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's obviously the injury history would be a big factor in this, and I do wonder what that would mean for whatever contract he's going to get during the free agency season here coming out of Philadelphia. But enough to make my list, given that I think it's very, very unlikely that Devin Lloyd's going to be back in a Jaguars uniform.
I don't mind him being on your list. I feel shunned for the fact that I brought Nakobe Dean's name up yesterday, and you would think I would not have him on my list today. And I do. He is one of my 3 primary guys for a lot of the same reasons you gave. I think the injury history depresses his price to some degree. You know, it's a roll of the dice. People would have said, Devin Lloyd was somewhat a roll of the dice as well, to expect that level of production from him certainly last year. So we both share Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean make your list, RJ?
Nakobe Dean did not make my list.
All right, give me a name who did.
This would be the Travis Etienne is no longer going to be here, but you are going to want an individual that can offer pass catching ability out of the backfield as well. So I went with Breece Hall from the New York Jets. I just do believe that he'll fit in with the young core of running backs, in which you will have, and he also gives you that ability to catch out of the backfield and be kind of maybe that gadget guy that you're looking for that you had with Etienne. So Breece Hall was like one of the first guys that I looked at on this list.
I wouldn't hate Breece Hall on this team. I don't think it would be a good use of resources for the Jags. I think if the Jags are going to bring in a running back that costs more than a rookie contract, they're going to keep their guy because they know how he fits in this offense. Breece Hall is younger. He's 24 years old, and he does have a lot of those things. I think Breece Hall, if there are, let's say there are 2 open jobs at running back, and without getting too scheme specific, and those were the 2 running backs you had to choose from, I think Breece Hall would be the more coveted of the 2. And I think his price went up being higher. Now, I could be wrong about that. I don't know. I'm just trying to guess how I think other teams would value them. But I would think that, again, if I want to spend that kind of money on a running back, how about the one who just scored 13 touchdowns for me and I know fits in to the culture and everything we got going on here?
Yeah, I think for me, the running back position for the Jags this offseason is bring back ETN or draft a guy. Right, would be the way that I would address the
That's how I would
position.
too. But hey, you know what? R.J. Saunders is zone man. So Breece Hall, top of your list. This is not necessarily the top of my list. I want to bring this guy up, though, because I've watched him from afar for the last few years. He has not been a superstar, but I think there's a lot of pass rush potential in Boye Mafe of the Seattle Seahawks. And he is a guy who's kind of been relegated to be their third pass rusher up in Seattle. Only had a couple of sacks this year, but he has had his rookie year, he had 3 sacks. He had a 9-sack season his second year, a 6-sack season his third year. That's kind of the production I'm looking for my third pass rusher. He's not a guy like you've got to give up a ton of assets like you would for Max Crosby, and then he has to play 80% of the downs or whatever he's capable of playing. And then you've got to figure out what to do with your other guys. This is a guy that plays when Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker need some reps off, or when you want to kick Trayvon inside and go with a smaller rush package on third or down or whatever the down and distance happens to be. So not an elite player, but I don't know if the Jags are going to have the kind of financial capital to be a player in the elite free agent market this year. So I was looking for some relative bargains here, and Boye Mafe fits that bill for me.
Yeah, I think edge is, in free agency, it's an interesting one to try to figure out exactly what to do with it, right, from a Jaguars perspective, because if you're trying to improve the depth chart, I think Mafe would make some kind of sense. I don't have him on my 3, but I think it would make some kind of sense. But it's kind of, for me, the free agency thing with the Jaguars and edge is, are you willing to spend the money on Henderson to actually get better, right, with the top of that depth chart there? Or are you better off just waiting until the draft and not spending the 10 to 12, whatever it would take to bring in like, I don't know where exactly I stand on that at that point. I'm open to being swayed either way with which way I should go with it. So I didn't include any of the edge guys in my top 3 here today.
That's fine. Any love for Boye Mafe from you, Mr. Saunders? No, not a bit. He's like, man, you peed all over my Breece Hall suggestion. I ain't gonna back
Sure
you
did.
up on Boye Mafe. You kidding me? You know what they did last year, of course, is they looked for help in the draft. It didn't present itself. They didn't reach. Ashton Galati out of Louisville was a name that we heard after the fact that they would have considered with that third-round pick. He was off the board. When he and R.J. Harvey were off the board, they moved back and picked up those extra couple of third-rounders from Detroit in that deal, and then drafted last year Wyatt Milam, Caleb Ransaw, reverse order there, but you get the idea. And then, so they missed out, and the very next day, they had Emmanuel Ogbah on speed dial. Now, they missed on Ogbah, but that's the kind of bet that if Ogbah had played his typical Ogbah season, then we might have been okay if he had given us a half dozen sacks, you know, and he ended up being a guy who was a game day inactive more often than not down the stretch. I think Mafe still got upside at the age of 27. Sure. So those are a few. There's one on each of our lists. We'll get a little bit deeper as we go into hour 2. Look at some of your submissions. You can hit us up on social media, on the text line, on the phone lines, whatever you like, and give us a look at which free agents out there, returning Jaguars. And you may be interested in having Travis Etienne and Devin Lloyd and all these guys come back financially. Probably can't make all that happen and add from the outside as well. Might not be able to bring back all those guys, period, this offseason. But we'll get into it with John Ogier as he joins us coming up for hour number 2 as well. 1 hour in, you're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Professional radio broadcasters.
Hey, guy. Sorry.
Dinner dozen gifts. A diner dozen.
That is awful.
So Cole.
I was flowing real good, then wasn't it?
You've got to be kidding me.
Professional, for crying out loud.
Who wrote this?
1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
He's our big hitter.
I'm Jaguars Today's middle linebacker, Tom McManus.
He tackles Jags talk from a middle linebacker's point of view. Fridays on 1010XL. Protected by Renewal by Anderson, custom windows and doors. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Pages in your mailbox right now. Did you know there's local savings sitting in your mailbox right now? Money Pages is packed with real coupons from your favorite local businesses. Save money at restaurants like Al's Pizza, on pet care at Forever Vets, and on entertainment for the whole family at the Alhambra Theater. Plus, make sure to download the Money Pages app for savings on the go. Money Pages in your mailbox right now.
I'm Frank Franzi, and I just got back from the farm at Okefenokee in Folkestone. Man, was I impressed. You have to see these handcrafted cabins. But act fast. On this 1,000-acre farm, there will only be 250 cabins. Each phase has jumped in value, so come get your lot and lock in your equity. Enjoy living in harmony with nature, going to the grocery store in your own backyard, and connecting with people grounded in food and purpose. Learn more at okefarm.com. That's okefarm.com.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Hey gang, Prosser here. Jacksonville homes are selling, but it can take months, and it takes a price lower than you want. Well, getting top price means aggressive marketing, and Chad and Sandy Newman are the Jacksonville experts who have proven systems to drive the demand to sell your home. And they have this unbelievable promise and guarantee. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. If you need to sell now, Chad and Sandy have instant offers. Fast, easy, and stress-free. You want max price? Chad and Sandy are going to aggressively market your home, and they're going to get it. Anthony and Mary in Palm Coast said, we wanted to move back home closer to family. Getting max price was more important than a fast sell, but we had only purchased our home last year, so we didn't have much equity. After just 23 days of aggressive marketing with Chad and Sandy, they sold our house at the price we needed to make the move. Call the Jacksonville experts you can trust, and I recommend. Call Chad and Sandy at 904-414-6200 or chadandsandy.com.
It's your 1010XL local sports update sponsored by Purple Heart Pools. After last night's win over LSU, Florida head coach Todd Golden discussed his approach to finding different ways to secure a victory.
The goal is to not have to rely upon, good shooting to win.
Big news for Jacksonville with Mike McDaniels out in Cleveland. Jags OC Grant Udinski moves a step closer to that Browns job as he remains a finalist. That's your 1010XL local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
55 degrees at 11:02. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. It's time for Oh No's with Jaguars.com's John Osher. Oh no. Oh, really? Oh yeah.
As the saying goes, I was today years old when I found out that John Oehser is apparently a big Ramones fan. Is that the case?
No doubt.
Okay.
Huge. Yeah.
Are you? I don't know. I mean, I don't know when you're being sarcastic.
Oh,
you have that affect where I feel like everything you literally say is sarcastic.
It's a pretty typical Ramones fan.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm absolutely a huge Ramones fan.
Are you?
Yeah.
I think of you, when I think of John Oehser, I think punk rock. I mean, almost synonymous.
A big punk rock guy.
Are
when
you?
I was in college. And, I mean,
you have any spiked hair? Dues?
Never got
faux hawk, mohawk,
never
reverse,
quite went full mohawk.
bald head.
I was not as hardcore
leather
as
studs. What do you have?
None of that. I
safety
appreciate
pins.
the genre.
Lots of safety pins.
I envy people with the guts to do it full
All right.
on. I didn't have the guts to do it full on. But yeah, big Ramones fan and other bands of that era.
Let me get this. Understand this, by the way, in tangents that mean nothing to anyone else, but in my own brain. If punk rock is all about, individuality and screw the system, how come they all end up looking the same?
Fair.
Right? I mean, right? Like, why?
Something I'm not sure they thought about until after the.
What did Superman say that was really being punk rock? Was like basically in the latest Superman movie?
Oh, I don't remember.
You remember? But there was something about that, like basically, you don't look punk rock. He goes, that's exactly why, though, because I don't conform to your notion of that.
In retrospect, there were people who were quote punk who did not look
who just hey mom, will you buy me some more safety pins?
I'm
gonna put them in my jeans.
Just looking for that next club to be a part of.
That's fine if you want
okay.
to safety pin up your
are,
jeans or your jean jacket, which was popular back in the day as well. Are jean jackets still very popular anymore? I'm gonna guess no.
I don't have one, but
no,
I did.
Yeah, I had one with some faux leather. Like collar accent, like
I'm sure at some point
terrible.
In my youth when I wasn't buying my own clothes, I probably had a denim jacket that matched the denim pants.
Probably so. I mean, denim is always it's kind of
70s.
timeless, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get away with
Sure.
a denim jacket if you want to. Johnny, how are things over at the building now? Have things quieted down?
Good.
Like, what's happening over there?
Haven't been in the building since last week. Just taking some time off. So. It's very low key. I mean, and it's been low key for me because I haven't been there. But my understanding it is low key for everybody. Just trying to get ready to move forward.
So Udinsky and Campanelli getting interest, but it looks like the Jags are going to sign a defensive backs coach who's got some Campanelli ties, who was on the Miami Dolphins staff, interviewed for the Jets defensive coordinator position, which, as we talked about with John Shipley in the first hour, kind of leads you to believe that Campanelli would be directing that decision. And I mean, the one job he's up for now is probably one of the two most competitive openings, which is the Baltimore Ravens. So the chances are he doesn't get it.
You would think. I mean, you would think you have to plan as if it's moving forward with him, and then if perchance they would come after him, I'm sure Liam and other people on the defensive staff have talked to the coach before. I just saw the news this morning, so I'm not up on.
Right, I did too.
But you have your plans in place, and I'm sure they're planning as if camp will be back.
And Udinsky, though, I mean, that seems like significant interest. Second interview with the Cleveland Browns, and I think the fact that the Buffalo Bills have requested an interview with him makes him more attractive to the Browns, in that sense that, like, hey, that's some cover. Like, I think it would actually be, and I don't want him to go. I want everything intact that made them successful this year, and they can build on it. But I think Udinsky has an outstanding chance to get that job because I'd rather be the team that's a year ahead of the curve on him and take a shot on that 30-year-old and maybe go through some growing pains in 1 year and figure out the quarterback situation, because if the Jags have some near level of success like they had this year, he's going to be a much hotter commodity next time around.
Well, that's the thing that we all tend to look at hires around the league as if these coaches are going to get a chance every year, and they do. From a team's point of view, you're probably not going to get the chance at that guy the next year because you're going to make a hire, and he's not going to be around in 4 or 5 years. It's a different dynamic. So that had something to do with why the Jaguars hired Liam Cohen last year. there wasn't around the league. You weren't sure if he was quite ready. Meaning Liam, the Jaguars saw him and said, "We like this guy. We'll let him grow." Turned out he didn't really need to grow, but. Yes, I do think that will have an influence on Udinski in Cleveland. Wouldn't surprise me if he got the job. Bills, you would think, want to get him in a room, find out what you did with quarterback this year because it was impressive. You want to find out the Jaguars, quote, secrets in their sauce. I think that was some of it. But once Grant gets in the room, he's going to interview well. And you're going to have a dynamic of people saying, well, maybe we should get this guy, as you said. Okay, he's 31. Okay, fine. But he's
and in 5
really
years
good.
he'll be 36. And who cares?
Yeah,
if he's really smart. And that's kind of the trend,
right.
At least with the more bold organizations. Although this cycle has been a trend of recycling coaches, right? The guys that have been head coaches getting the job so far. I mean, obviously Harbaugh was going to be coveted,
Right.
but he pivots over. But,
Saleh, interesting choice, Saleh, because it's away from the grain of a couple years ago with all of the, the goateed offensive coordinator head coaches. We've clearly gone away from that. So cycles can be very cyclical.
Right. Hafley was a former head coach at Boston College. That didn't go unrecognized, by the way. Yes, they can. Well, one of the big critiques of Liam Cohen last year, the hiring, was that he only had interest from the one team. Right. And I do that for that reason. I do think as the Browns bring back Udinski, who is not a household name among NFL fans, probably 95% of them have no idea who this guy is, maybe a higher percentage, because you can't name every offensive coordinator in the league if you're the average fan. But the fact that this organization has had as much success as they had will move on from a coach who's won 8 playoff games and would consider him, I just think gives them a little bit of cover. Well, hey, the Bills, we're not the only ones out here that are kicking the tires on this guy.
Yeah, and again, don't interview Grant if you don't want to hire Grant because he's going to impress you in the interview. So I don't think he'll be the coordinator here in 27. It's probably 50-50 this year in 26.
Love to squeeze one more year out of him. That'd be fantastic. For him, and I wish him the best, but I hope the best is here in Jacksonville, at least in the short term.
How many email, text, we talked about it last week. Can't tell you how many emails I've gotten. Why doesn't Shad Khan just pay the assistants to have him stay?
Pay him what?
Yeah, I mean,
he's not going to pay him more than a head coach. I guess that's what they think, right? Because he's a multi-billionaire.
Shad Khan should keep the band together. Well,
okay, that's great. To within reason, yes, you're going to do that. But plus, okay,
what's the
Okay, you pay me a bunch of money to be a non-play caller. That's great. It is a bunch of money, but I'm going to get the same bunch of money. I'm going to get to run an entire
If the guy
organization.
wants to be a head coach, Shad Khan needs to step in the way because you want him to be your OC.
Well, I mean, I get the basic thing, like, hey, man, you got all this money. Just splash enough money because we all would just, I'll go be a garbage man tomorrow if you pay me the right amount of money.
I got one from somebody angry at their lack of loyalty. Come on.
Come on, dude.
That's a little silly.
To have a chance to be so
Your
disloyal.
column brings them out, man. So does our text line, though, by the way. The ozone right there. All right, we'll come back. Let's turn our attention back to the free agent market with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jags have some pending free agents of their own. Are they likely to retain them? And if not, who are some of the guys? We went through one name on each of our 3-man list in the first hour. We'll get a little bit deeper as we go into hour number 2 here. Tony will take us around the league, and we'll continue on building the Jacksonville Jaguars back up to a powerhouse throughout the 2026 offseason here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
For the renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. 1010XL. Now, Studio Talk with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Chances like this do not come around every day.
Are we doing this? The Drill.
So let's just give this everything we got. We may fall on our faces.
Mornings on 1010XL.
But if we do, we will fall with dignity.
When your home or business deserves more than ordinary glass, you trust the experts. Capital Glass and Shower Doors has been elevating spaces for over 40 years with precision, craftsmanship, and clean, modern design. From sleek frameless shower enclosures to elegant glass railings, wine cabinets, and any custom glass that makes a statement, Capital Glass delivers unmatched quality, service, and attention to detail. Your vision, their expertise. Capital Glass and Shower Doors at capcoglass.com.
Awaken 180 weight loss.
Jaguars today, Wednesday.
Get a healthy start in 2026. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to help you get healthy and stay healthy all year long. Our dedicated team is committed to providing high-quality care and trusted public health services for our community. Our mission is simple: to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Learn more about our programs and services by visiting duval.floridahealth.gov.
Hey, Hicken here. Leave all the 2025 dirt and celebrate the new year with our friends from Zero Res. Carpets, tile, hardwood, LVP, area rugs, upholstery. Basically every surface in your home can be Zero Resified. Time to call the cleaner pros at Zero Res, and don't forget about your air ducts. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google with more than 8,000 reviews. Bring in the new year with 20% off carpet and upholstery cleaning, plus take $100 off your air duct cleaning when you mention 1010XL. 287-5727 or book online at ZeroResJacksonville.com.
He's not Pistol Pete, he's Pete Prisco.
Been on the wanted list almost 20 years.
CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco joins the Frangie Show Friday afternoons on 1010XL. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Now's the perfect time to order logo coffee mugs, or maybe a logoed stick brand tumbler. They're seriously ice cold and look great with your company logo. HardballCreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
PRI Productions is the official game day production partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hi, I'm Randy Goodwin, president and owner of PRI Productions. Chances are, if you've been in Jacksonville over the last 30 years, you've seen our work, from corporate and social events to concert production and much more. We have the equipment and expertise to make your next event memorable. So call the experts at the Jaguars Call. PRI Productions, bringing your ideas to life.
When persistent plumbing problems leave you feeling flushed, don't panic. Call Roland Reich. They quote all pricing in advance, so your only surprise is how quickly they'll solve your issue. Roland Reich Plumbing. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and this month I want to talk to you about welcoming the winds of change in your life. But so often, when we see the winds of change coming our way, our immediate response is to fight it. Friends, when you see things in your life changing, when the winds of change are coming your way, don't fight it, but embrace it. Recognize that God is stirring you up so that you too can soar like an eagle.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Oh No's, Sports with Jaguars.com's John Osher.
Served by
Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree draft on 1010XL.
I'm going to give RJ fair warning that we're about to go around the league right now. I'd always get Denmark be like, "Run!" and he'd drop his phone that he'd been scrolling through.
Oh, he gets out the door.
I'm busting it. Nah, I'd bust his butt when he was here. I love Dylan Denmark. Don't get me wrong. He is my he's my son. He is my my golf son is what he is. Not that I taught him anything about the game. We just had that age dynamic.
Right.
Where I felt like his dad out there, or maybe his golf uncle, something along those lines. But so before we get a little deeper into the free agency market, who may be coming, who may be going, and obviously that doesn't open up for a little while, but it's the season's over, and we're talking Jaguar Ball 365, so we're going to talk a lot about it this offseason. Tony Smith going to take us around the NFL.
Now, Gems Around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Jaguars defensive coordinator Coach Camp has completed an interview with Baltimore for their open head coaching vacancy. Buffalo has requested an interview with Jaguars offensive coordinator Grant Udinski. Former Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel has removed his name from consideration for the Cleveland head coaching job before a scheduled in-person meeting they had set up for today. McDaniel has been offered multiple offensive coordinator positions, according to a report from Tom Pelissero. Green Bay has released cornerback Trayvon Diggs. He appeared in 2 games for the Packers after being picked up by Green Bay following being released by Dallas. New Orleans has signed safety Julian Blackmon to a 1-year extension. New York Giants GM Joe Shane said on Tuesday that running back Cam Scatterbo is expected to be ready to participate at the beginning of the team's offseason program in April. He also added that wide receiver Malik Neighbor is expected to be ready for the start of training camp.
Yeah, I mean, he made the Scatterbo news like, why are you asking me this? He was like, yeah, April 6th, man, first day of the offseason, no worries. Like, okay. I mean,
yeah.
That was, I believe, what was described as a really difficult injury to come back from to rehab, at least quickly. So, what was it? Dislocated ankle,
yeah,
I think is what it was, with ligament damage in there. So, hey, good for him. Helps out a couple of my dynasty teams, all to say. And the fact that Travis Kelce today caught my attention on, what is it? The podcast he does with Jason Kelce. What is that called? I don't know. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
I don't listen to it. You know what it's called?
I don't. 2 guys talking.
The Kelce brothers talking.
Right.
We'll call it that. All right. He said, because Eric Bieniemy is coming back. It's weird, right? Like Eric Bieniemy, well, he wore his welcome in Kansas City, or they went as far as they could with Eric Bieniemy, and he kind of bounced around, got an interview or 2, I believe, but never got a full-throated push to be a head coach anywhere.
Correct.
But he's coming back to be the OC again and kind of getting the band back together. And Kelce on the podcast with his brother said, I can't wait to see him back in the building. One of my favorite coaches of all time. I just love the guy. And so people are interpreting that as Travis Kelce kind of soft announcing that he's going to come back for another year. Now, maybe he just meant that can't wait to see him or see the Chiefs with his impact back in the building, because I doubt Kelce is going to be hanging around the building that much if he retires.
Sure.
He'll be back on occasion, but it sounded like here's a guy that I'm excited to have back help me try to achieve my goals.
You could see that. You could see band back together 1 year, Holmes coming, you could see them wanting to do that. You could easily see him not wanting to go out the way they went out last year.
Absolutely. I mean, look, do you want to go out on top? Do you want to? It's tough to say, right? You win it, and you're like, I can do this again, right? It's tough. And not everybody can be John Elway, and he won it twice in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kelce had 2, but he wanted to make it a historic 3 in a row, and obviously didn't happen. Came back this year, and it all kind of fell apart. But we'll see how that all works out.
Now?
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Something like that. I mean,
by the way, they made the podcast. The name is so memorable. I can't believe we all didn't know it off the top of our head. New Heights.
New Heights. The hell's that?
Right.
I mean, it means something.
That's the weirdest thing for 2 guys who are so bombastic, so like over the top.
Clear horizons.
New Heights.
Blue skies. It's like, what? Okay, whatever. Good for you.
Maybe they're trying to be subtle.
John, on the Devin Lloyd, ETN, Monteric Brown front. I don't even think that's fair. I feel like there are tiers here. I think Lloyd and ETN, even though I felt Lloyd was more valuable to the team, I felt they were 2 of the 3 most valuable guys. I think they're their own tier of free agents for the Jags in terms of their own internal guys. I feel like Buster Brown is on a tier by himself. And then you got a bunch of other guys that maybe you bring back at various costs. What's the likelihood in your mind that Devin Lloyd and or Travis Etienne are playing at least one more year with the Jags, in your opinion?
I'd be very, very, very surprised if Lloyd's back because of the position, because of positional value. I want to say when I say that, I don't know that a decision's been made. I just think it'll be difficult for all the reasons I'm sure you've gone over. Inside linebacker, the position that you would, the money that it's going to demand.
Franchise tag is out of a reasonable range for him. He's not a pass rusher.
But probably so is the market value. Yeah,
possibly so.
I would just be very surprised. Travis, I'd be a lot less surprised. I could see them tagging Travis much easier than I could Devin. To me, and again, this is not somebody saying this is what we're going to do. It just makes sense with the running back transition tag. He's going into his 6th year. He'd be playing on that franchise or transition. Makes sense because the shelf life on a back, it's tough to pay 3 or 4 years at a huge deal at a level of his career. So I think they would love to have Travis back. I think they'll really try. I don't know if it's realistic that it'll happen.
Yeah, I think it's more realistic, as we say. I mean, the cost maybe 60% of what Devin Lloyd is going to cost you, roughly.
Yeah.
Now, you can structure contracts in different ways, so the cap hit is, not as impactful immediately. In fact, you can get really good deals on that first year or two sometimes. RJ made the point, we were talking about guys on the CBS list of potential free agents. He brought up Breece Hall. My contention is if they're going to spend on a running back,
absolutely,
they're going to spend on the guy who's already in the building.
Yeah, and that's why, he asked me to look at the list. I looked through it. I looked in last few weeks at some of the top free agent lists. With linebacker and running back, I think they could go free agent in those areas. I don't know that they would go premier free agent, because if they're going to go premier free agent, then I think you would try to re-sign your own guy. So, I think it's
I could see like a Rico Dowdle, right? Like he signed a 1-year, $3 million deal last year in Carolina. So maybe you get him for 1 year, $5 million, something like that. But one of the things that left an impression with me is in the post-game locker room after losing to the Rams, he's like, nah, I'm probably looking for, a team that's going to feature me more.
Right.
I don't think that's waiting for Rico Dowdle here. He might be the early down thumper, but I don't know, as the season plays, he doesn't have as much juice to me as Bajal Tutin does.
And he might want that at that moment, and then once he looks at the whole market, he goes, oh, well, nobody's really going to pay me.
This is true as well.
So, I would be a little surprised if they don't bring Travis back, which I hope they do and think they might. I would be a little surprised if they don't just draft that position moving forward. 3rd, 4th round guy. I take the approach of Tutin and cycle through it that way.
Yep.
That seems to be what I would think they would do. And I think the thing that could make them go away from that was how well Travis played above, I think, what anybody thought he would. So his importance to it, he could be a little bit of an outlier and make them not take that approach until they think he's done.
I agree. And a tag like the transition tag, which I think is, if they're going to tag him, that's the way they'll go, not the franchise tag. Save nearly $3 million on it. And I don't think there's very much risk that someone's going to sign that guy, because that's the starting point then. At $11 million, are you going to give – and if so, you got a chance to match it, or you let him go and you go, all right, you know what? We'll then pivot to the draft as far as that goes. So
that just makes sense.
I'm with you on that.
With that one. So
No, I absolutely. All right, so RJ, let's go down another name on our list here. Breece Hall was one of your 3 targets that you'd like to see him go after. Give me another one.
I don't know if it'll be likely, but if you go to Baltimore and you talk to one Isaiah Likely. I believe that, here's a guy, I don't mean to be the Lakers basketball guy. I'm sorry. I've only been here 3 days in, but I look at it kind of like how the Lakers talked to DeAndre Ayton and basically said, listen, nobody's going to give you top dollar right now because you've been a headache in both Phoenix and Portland. Come to the Lakers, get some tape on you, and then maybe a team like Indiana or maybe a team like Team X will sign you to a longer-term deal that we may not be willing to sign you to. Isaiah likely had a bad season last year. I think because of such a low stock that he has right now, you may be able to get him maybe for a 1-year deal, get tape on him. He's able to help your team, and then maybe he can go somewhere else. But I think he could give you a huge help at the tight end position if you're looking for someone that can back up Britton Strange.
This is tough because I think Isaiah likely, if you featured him, could catch 75 balls and for 900 yards and 8 touchdowns, but if you featured him, I don't know if those kind of reps would be available here, even if you played a lot of 2 tight end sets. Right, you would think, right? That's good. That's good. But he did, he way more talented than his numbers would indicate. I agree with you on that. He did have a down year from that perspective. I think he's a good player. He only got 27 catches for 307 yards and 1 touchdown this year. But I do think Isaiah likely can be like a David Njoku if you get him in the right system that affords him those kind of opportunities. I just don't know. I think they're going to go the same kind of route where Britton Strange is our main guy, and we have
draft behind it, develop
draft
behind
or go. Hey, Quentin Morris, we liked what we saw. Let's come back. Let's do another year. You fit in well here. But I think that's a more palatable one to me than Breece Hall because I think he would be much more economical.
Yeah, I doubt they would go high profile. I don't know that they're going to go high profile, big spend free agency on offense.
I don't think so either.
I think they would. They want to get into drafting guys mid round, developing them, play them. I think you can do that behind Strange. You can probably do it at running back. I think most of their focus in free agency and the draft will be on defense.
All right, Tony and I both mentioned Nakobe Dean, Philadelphia linebacker, young athlete. I think his potential is there. He can cover, he can rush, he can do a little everything, but stay healthy, right? So that hopefully would depress his price. When I said I had a list of 3 that became 4, it's because it's my addendum to Nakobe Dean. Like if they, Devin Lloyd's out of their price range, maybe Nakobe Dean will be as well. Sure. Some other team looks at him. He's only 25. They see the potential. So I went the other end of the spectrum. Demario Davis,
I like that,
still gets it done, man. And I'm talking about a 1-year deal.
Older linebacker and a high emphasis on smart.
Super high IQ, football IQ, and still makes plays.
That's what I think. If they go free agency, I think people will lose their mind when they don't re-sign Devin Lloyd, when and if, and they will feel like they are fine if they can get a smart guy coming in here who is reliable, veteran, play alongside Foye. I wouldn't be surprised at all if somewhere, I don't know a name, but if that's the direction they go.
Right, and I don't know if he's as good. Like Devin Lloyd excelled in coverage this year with the big splash plays. Demario Davis is more of a sure run stopper. So maybe it's not the best fit, but it's that kind of like he's 36, man, but he's still got juice. And you could get him for a fraction of what you're going to pay the top guys at the position on the market. Pro Football Focus ranked him among the 10 best inside linebackers. His overall defensive grade was 6th with an 80.3 score. His run defense was 7th, ranked out 88.9 on run defense. 102 tackles on design rushing plays, 3rd most in the NFL. Now, a lot of teams were probably running it heavily, particularly early in the season on the New Orleans Saints when they weren't super competitive. But he's still like you said, super smart guy, wily veteran type. Anybody have any love for Demario Davis? I'm going to say that's probably a no. I'm guessing. I was the only.
He wasn't on my list, but I do like him.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, wasn't on my list. I had Dean as the linebacker on my
list.
Okay,
he was like my pivot off Dean. I've got another guy on here, but give me your next one, Tone.
Yeah, same position for my number 2 and 1, but they do different things. Right, David Onyemata is on my list. It's where I think the priorities for the football team should be going into the offseason. I do think they're going to be on defense, especially in free agency. And so linebacker, I did focus on the defensive line here with my top couple of spots, and there is a big gap for me between 2 and 1 on this list.
I know who number 1 will be for you because he's number 1 for me as well.
Right, there is a big gap between those two guys on my list as far as my interest level, but Onyemata seems more like a nose tackle type to bring in here. I thought Hamilton had a good year, but they do need something with a little bit of punch somewhere on the defensive line.
Any love for Onyemata on the list there, RJ Saunders? All right, we'll reveal our last one that we had on there on our watch list, so to speak. And let's look at some of the submissions you sent in as well as we continue along. You're listening to Jaguars Today. John Ogier in studio here with us on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for my friends at Dandy Foods, locally owned and operated, and you gotta love that. The Thompson family created the Dandy Company way back in 1956, 70 years ago. I talked about Dandy's outstanding products for over a decade. Personally enjoy them for about 3 times as long. Dandy is the perfect go-to when you're in a hurry and you don't want the hassle of a long wait. When do you ever want the hassle of a long wait? You can't go wrong with Dandy. A great value compared to the drive-thru. Fast, fresh, always tasty, and waiting for you in the cold case at convenience stores all over town. As a matter of fact, right down from the Jacksonville Zoo, the Sunoco station on Heckscher Drive, San Marco Foods, has a great selection of Dandy sandwiches, whether it's the Monster Classic Combo or maybe a delicious meatball sub. That sounds great. You'll find plenty of choices to satisfy even the heartiest of appetites. Fresh, quality products, great variety, and prices that keep a smile on your face. When you're hungry in Duval, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy. And do it today.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. You love sports. You live for the action.
He did it again!
Experience the excitement of the moment on 1010XL.
Hey friends, Frank Frangie here. A new year is the perfect time to make sure your car is ready for the road ahead. And nothing gives you more confidence than a fresh set of tires from my friends at Big Chief Tire. I've trusted them for years. They take great care of me, and they'll take great care of you. Start 2026 with a smoother, safer ride. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 today and let Big Chief get you rolling.
Coach Campo here, and I just want to tell you about the best pizza I've had right here in Duval, and that's Tony D's Pizza. Tony works hard to make every slice perfect. If you love pizza like I do, you need to go to Tony D's, Bay Meadows and 295.
Did you know your roof ages from the inside out? By the time you see a leak, damage already exists beneath the shingles. Sun exposure, humidity, and seasonal storms slowly weaken roofing materials over time. If your roof is 15 years old or more, then now's the time to start planning, not reacting. At Endless Summer Roofing, we provide professional inspections and clear guidance so you can make informed decisions. Visit EndlessSummerRoofing.com to schedule a free inspection. Endless Summer Roofing, protecting your home from Florida's endless summer.
Hi, folks. It's Frank Frangie. Did you know that individuals over age 60 have great results on Awaken 180? See how you could drop weight and get off your medications in just 3 months with Awaken 180's Golden Program. Visit Awaken180weightloss.com.
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free. Tax free this year only, roughly 37% of filings qualify. Simple form 240 returns only. Now this is tax.
Love that jam. Up next, commercials.
Intuit TurboTax Free Edition. See if you qualify at TurboTax.com/free. No schedules except for Earned Income Tax Credit, Child Tax Credit, Student Loan Interest, and Schedule 1A.
Get your tickets for the Tom Coughlin J Fund Wine Tasting Gala. Join Super Bowl winning coach Tom Coughlin at ViStar Ballpark Thursday, March 5th and raise a glass to help local families tackling childhood cancer. Enjoy hundreds of wines from around the world and food from top local restaurants. Buy tickets and learn more at tcjfund.org/wine. tcjfund.org/wine.
What's up, Duval? I'm Tab Valamek, owner of Purple Heart Pools, Jacksonville's veteran-owned pool company for over 10 years. We specialize in new pool construction and pool renovations, built on military values, integrity, communication, attention to detail, and honor. Now is the perfect time to start your pool project, so when the heat hits, your pool is ready. As an Iraq War veteran and Purple Heart recipient, pride in what I do is everything. Let me show you the difference in how my team and I execute your pool project with military precision. Call Purple Heart Pools, Jacksonville's veteran pool company.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monaghan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
All right, Ronald Jr. Passes this one along to me from the desk of Ian Rappaport. The Arizona Cardinals are bringing in Jags defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile for a second in-person interview tomorrow for head coach. He's flying in tonight. Did I know he had a first in-person interview with Arizona?
I don't remember.
I don't remember that either. I know he was on with Miami. They were looking at him in
He may have
Baltimore.
already done a Zoom, and this is the first.
Okay, second interview. This one will be in person. Yeah, I wasn't even aware he had Zoomed with the Cardinals.
I wouldn't either.
Who's Zooming who, John, is the question.
That's a good one.
Probably needs to be asked.
We're going to zoom on Zoom.
We're definitely going to do that. That definitely dates you. You ever heard of the TV show Zoom, RJ?
The science show on PBS?
I'm thinking no.
Okay.
I have not
There was
watched.
a science show on PBS called Zoom.
Like it. What era was this?
Gosh, it had to be the 90s?
Late 90s, mid, whatever.
Probably
And
mid to
Zoom was
late.
like a kind of like a
1972.
yeah, like a right. It was like seven. It was like a sort of Sesame Street adjacent for a slightly older,
right?
Group of children, like I don't know, preteens, something like that.
If you had the TV stamina after you finished watching Sesame Street and Electric Company,
Oh,
you
yeah.
watch Zoom.
Yeah, you stayed up
third
for the
show.
Electric Company. Probably went off after Spidey Super Stories, where they had the little Spider-Man cartoon.
I don't remember Spidey Super Stories.
Yeah, I think Spider-Man had like a little feature on the Electric Company back in the day. They did like a little cartoon version of the Electric Company, or on the
I'll
Electric
trust you.
Company. Yeah, just trust me on that. So anyway, good luck to Coach Camp, but that's a tough job, man. That is a tough job when you look at the stacked division in the NFC West right now. And I know these things are cyclical, but my goodness,
Who's
right now.
the last extended run guy there? Arians, I guess, right?
Probably so.
Like who had like you felt like, yeah, I know what's going on there.
Yeah.
That's
They have
really-
no clear answer at quarterback unless you feel that Kyler Murray is somehow going to have the shine put back on him by a new coaching staff.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people feel like he's played his last football for the Cardinal organization.
It would make sense. So you really in the last epic number of years had Wisenhunt, which is way back, and Arians succeed there. It's a tough spot.
Yeah, with Jacoby Brissett, I mean, for all the number, he put up some decent numbers. Like fantasy managers love Jacoby Brissett, but he didn't win any games. Yeah, like a 9-game losing streak or something along those lines this year. So ridiculous division with Seattle and the Rams, the last two teams standing in the NFC, and San Francisco,
right?
One of the last 8 teams standing, and you've got no quarterback. Good luck,
Yeah.
But hey, I don't know if you can afford to, if you're Anthony Campanile and you're in this mix for the third year in a row, do you turn down Arizona?
Well, he's really only been in the head coaching mix
this year.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if you're getting 3 teams looking at you, at least considering you, basically 30% of the openings have considered you as a legitimate candidate. Do you say, hey, you know what, I got enough confidence in myself? Or do you say, hey, we might not have Devin Lloyd, we might not have some of these other guys. Maybe we don't have the number 1 run defense in the league again.
Yeah. It's always a tough spot. History tells you that if you think a spot is not a great spot, it's best to wait because you'll get your shot. But that's tough when you're actually the guy doing it.
Right. I feel like Udinski, man, he is such a young, bright upcomer that even if it goes poorly in Cleveland, if he were to get that job, people would blame it on Cleveland more than they'd blame it on him. That's how I feel about it. Anyway, by the way, Travis Kelce is 36. You were saying how old was Kelce, and that is exactly how old he is. Brissett's 33 years old, so he's not the future of anything. They're one of the 11 as a starter this year. All right, last look at the I guess golden moment. Can't forget today's golden moment. The golden moment today was the return of John Shipley from Jaguar Report
that's good.
in hour number 1. First time we've had him on since the start of the 2025 season. We get a little busy around these parts during the season.
You said no to Ship. You said no more Ship.
No,
for
we
a
didn't
while.
say no to Ship. We Ship, really the only time that we can have a guest on during the season is Wednesdays in the first hour, which is usually press conference time for the Jags during the season. And
plus, it's tough because I'm coming in.
Who wants to be the
Right.
leadoff batter?
Yeah.
When it comes to that,
That's
so
fair.
our golden moment was welcoming John Shipley back into the fold for the first of many off-season visits. We certainly hope around these parts. Tony, give me your third name on your wish list for free agent potential for the Jaguars.
Yeah, I think based on your hint that you and I both have the same name here,
Yes.
John Franklin Myers.
And had I had a list, that would have been the guy. Like,
I wonder though, I feel like
if you can afford it.
he's like right. That's kind of the thing. Like he's like 22nd. I want to say he was on their list, something like that. But I
think
feel
he'll
like
garner a lot more.
I do too. Right? I feel like John Franklin Myers. Tony, give me your reasoning for why you think he's a good fit.
Because they need punch in the interior of their defensive line. That is the number one priority for me going into this offseason for the Jacksonville Jaguars is what they can do on the interior of the defense to take advantage of two guys. I don't think that they're going to be able to spend the money that they'd have to spend to upgrade their ends. Right, in this offseason to bring in a guy like Henderson and push those guys down. Like, I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think they could potentially spend for one guy to give them more juice on the interior to see what that could do for what those guys on the edge could do. Because I do think they're among the handful of the best players on the roster. They have to find some way to take advantage of them, give them something on the interior of the defensive line to take something, to allow those guys to occasionally see one-on-one blocks on the edge a little bit more. Franklin Myers seems like the easiest route to make that kind of thing happen. I don't know what the money will be with him, but if they were able to land, you're talking about a guy that when they bring him in, I would assume he's going to be a 5 to 7 sack guy because that's what he's been. For the past basically half decade in the league is a 5 to 7 sack guy.
What do they say? He, along with Leonard Williams, are the only defensive tackles with at least 7 sacks and 15 quarterback hits in each of the last 2 years. Now, he's also had the benefit of playing with Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper, but I mean,
he'd be with
Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker are not. We may not.
And being next to Devon is
Absolutely
high level right now.
And that doesn't mean Eric Armstead wouldn't be back for one more year because that is a position that you rotate very heavily. So I could absolutely see those three working in conjunction for one more season. So I had Franklin Myers as well. RJ, who do you have as your last one?
Tariq Woolen from Seattle. I think if you do lose multiple corners this offseason, hopefully not. That's what we're knocking on wood about. But I do believe that he can help in that room. I do also believe as you're continuing to get Travis Hunter back into the fold, and if you want to use him uniquely in some areas on defense as well, if you're going to continue doing this half and half with him, I do think that Woolen is kind of that great safety blanket that you can have to where you have, the guys like Jordan Lewis, you also have Jarian Jones, and Woolen can kind of be that piece that kind of cements you there on the cornerback side.
He's unique, man. He's 6'4". Not many corners go the size of Tariq Woolen, and he has played well in his own base scheme before. So if you're assuming Anthony Campanile is back, I think he'd be a good fit. Again, I don't know if they've got the funds to play at that level in free agency, but I like that fit potentially for the Jags. All right, let's take our final timeout. Come back with some last thoughts on this Wednesday as we wrap it up and get you ready for XL Primetime coming up on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Superior products, exceptional service. Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over over $4,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
A new year is the perfect time to finally get organized. Hey, this is Lauren Brooks, and I love our closets from Closets by Design. They create custom storage systems designed around how you actually live. From closets and garages to home offices, entertainment centers, laundry rooms, and more. Beautiful, functional storage for any space, lifestyle, and budget. Start the new year strong with 40% off plus an extra 15% off, free installation, and 18-month special financing. Schedule your free in-home consultation. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Do you want to grow your career with a company that's committed to growing with you? Florida Home AC has aggressive plans to double their workforce, and they're looking for determined, resourceful people with initiative. Just log on to floridahomeac.com/careers to find out more.
We've all been there. You hear about an incredible event Monday morning, but it happens Sunday. Stop missing out. Jacksonville is the flip side of Florida, and we have the solution. From under-the-radar sporting events to the perfect family outing or date night, Visit Jacksonville is your all-access pass to the city. Plan your 2026 season at visitjacksonville.com/locals. visitjacksonville.com/locals. Or download the Visit Jacks app for the full lineup. See what you've been missing.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. Are you frustrated with those trendy pills, drops, and lotions that claim to make your hair thicker and fuller? Are you taking weight loss drugs or medication that's making your hair fall out? Whether you're frustrated with results from treatments that just don't work, or you no longer have the fuller, thicker hair that you once had, there's a better way. Our hair restoration solutions have helped literally over 10,000 men and women restore their hair in as little as 2 office visits.
Ready to grow your hair back and have permanent, natural, and guaranteed results? For your confidential consultation, call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or go to hairforme.com. That's hairforme.com.
I know you love sports, so why not take that passion and make a difference in your community as a volunteer coach with the YMCA? Whether it's soccer, basketball, volleyball, or flag football, the Y is always looking for positive role models to help kids grow in both skills and character. Even if you've got no coaching experience, that's fine. We'll provide the training. Step up, give back, and be the coach that makes a difference. To volunteer, visit your local Y or fcymca.org.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers floral plant arrangement. This is JJ with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. He's Johnny O No's on Jaguars Today.
Served by
Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree draft on 1010XL.
All right, just got, I believe, my first mock draft sent to me, Jaguar mock draft. Eventually, we'll get around to doing some of our own. It's a little more difficult when you don't have a first-round pick.
I've been trying to figure out how to, usually I do like once a week, I'll do some sort of draft update for the site. Frankly, I've been trying to figure out how to do it.
Well, you've got, like, Dane Brugler at The Athletic is one of those guys. When he mocks, he will, whoever's not doesn't have a first-round pick, he'll do their first pick wherever it falls. So
yeah, it's smart. It's
who did he have? We talked about him last week. I forget who it was. I was the safety that he had him going with. But
yeah, I noticed a few guys do that. So like it's tough though, because even when you get down into that, when you're mocking somebody 56,
like I didn't have any problem doing that last year, but it felt so much more complete having that 5th overall pick. Sure. And of course, half the fun of it, Tony, was when you go to the mock draft simulators. Oh, you have 16 trade offers to move out of number 5 and go backwards. And Tony and I would end up like 4 first rounders, and they went the complete opposite way. But I'll just give you the positions here. They went D tackle at 56, edge rusher, running back, another edge rusher, linebacker, offensive guard, safety, wide receiver, tight end, and corner.
So all positions except quarterback.
They covered a lot, but I don't mind it that much. Like your 2 edge rushers in your first 4 picks out of those second and third rounders, and a defensive tackle, and then a running back. That's I think it's not a terrible use depending on who you get at running back, and obviously that would be in a circumstance when ETN has moved on. Somebody asked, what do they say here? Tough to keep them all right in front of you. Somebody said, hey, basically, are we better off moving on from ETN because the way running backs kind of wear down, right? And MJD wanted another contract. Well, who wouldn't want another contract? But MJD at the time he left the Jags had about twice as many career touches as Travis Etienne had. Travis Etienne's nowhere near the end. And we're talking about them bringing Etienne back on a 1-year basis.
Such different styles, too. Right. The Travis, he's effective outside. He doesn't take. I mean, he's a tougher inside runner than I think people nationally give him credit for, but he hasn't taken the pounding that MJD did. Certainly.
Let's see. No, they can't draft another running back if they retain ETN. Oh, there's a rule against that. They have 2 running backs that can catch. They will draft another. Well, then you're presuming ETN's gone, which is fine. But I don't think. Look, they showed you last year. Jonah Monheim wasn't on their radar, or drafting another offensive lineman wasn't in their thought process at that time, and they just thought the value was too good in the 7th round, and they had to go for it. If the right guy, if they've got a running back that's graded as a 4th rounder available in the 6th, they'll take it.
No doubt.
Yeah,
and you should.
Right, right. Take values as much as possible. You don't know what's going to happen. What if a couple of your backs get injured, right? And then you're glad you had them.
No team walks around saying we have too many good players.
But I understand, though, like you've got to be, as a general rule, if you had Etienne and Tootin and LaQuint Allen coming back, you would think that's a position that's pretty well taken care of, as a general rule. But values do present themselves, like when we talk to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Josie, do you like being considered a value play? That feels like I'm getting you on the cheap here.
Well, I feel like I'm an average Joe, to say the least, but I play up. I level up is this new phrase, so I level up. But I couldn't help but think of Shaq Harris. He says, there's value there. There's value.
Shaq. Never mind. Let's not do that. Let's not go down that road. Now, Shaq, you know what? Shaq had his moments.
Yes.
They've all had their moments. Even the last guy drafted some good players here that the coaching staff
Heck, even
didn't get the best out of.
Looks better right
Bro, that's but, yes.
But not 20th overall.
Not at the age of 20.
Yeah. Not 20th overall.
20th overall.
Yeah.
That was the issue. You're a little too far ahead of yourself on that one, Jaguars. What's coming up today?
Well, we'll look at some value of some of those decisions that you guys have been talking about, but then also we have our I was wrong Wednesday, so we're going to basically look back at the entire college football season. What we got very few things right, so it'll be a bunch of what we got wrong. Darian Mensah, lawyers, NIL, contracts, all kinds of stuff going on in the college football world post the national championship.
Hey, it makes sense. Contracts have to mean something, don't they? I mean, if you
would think
at some point something has to mean something, but maybe not. I'm not in the middle of it.
Not
so
in college these days.
You know what? I'll show up and see who's playing where at the beginning of next season.
exactly.
That's kind of where I'm at. Joe, we have a good show.
All right, fellas. Thanks.
All right, Joe C. coming your way. Always a value pick around these. No matter what you have to pay for Joe, you get a tremendous value above cost.
I'm probably not taking him at the top of the first.
Well, no, you don't have to take him there, right? You can safely trade back to the middle of round 1. I wouldn't go past like 14 or 15.
That's fair.
Let's not be crazy.
That's
all
fair.
right.
He's like that corner you get.
Jets are lurking. They have a second first rounder at pick 16. I want to stay ahead of them. All right, Johnny, what's coming up for you?
A relatively slow week. but I will be looking at what I consider the top plays. I did special teams. We'll do defense. We'll do offense. We'll break that down, then get into next week when we'll start accelerating a little bit.
All right. We'll look forward to it, man. And we'll have our final visit with you next week as well for the off season, at least. But appreciate the service as always. For John Ogier, Tony Smith, and RJ Saunders, I'm Mike Dempsey. XL Primetime coming your way next here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.